Good morning to all the participants and welcome to day 4 of the program. Today we have one of the dedicated faculty member of Department of CSE NIT Warangal, Dr. Balprakash Rao. And Dr. Balprakash Rao received his PhD degree from Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati, under the extreme guidance of Professor Dr. S.B. Rao. Professor Dr. S.B. Rao is a professor in the Department of CSE and currently head of the Department of IIT Guwahati. And Dr. Bala received PhD from Guwahati and MTech from Andhra University, Visakhapatnam. His research interests include software-defined network, network optimization, artificial intelligence, reliable network design. And Dr. Bala published so many good papers. If you visit his personal website, you will find so many papers in IEEE communication letter, IEEE transaction on network and service management, Elsevier computer network, computer communication, and so many good conferences. And he is also an active reviewer of many IEEE transactions and IEEE communication letters. And he received Best Paper Award in IEEE SAM ComsNet in 2018. And he is actively involved in our department activities also. So with this brief introduction, I request Dr. Balprakash Kili sir to handle the morning two sessions. Sir, you please start, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the nice introduction. So once again, I'm Dr. Balprakash Rao from NIT Warangal. So, in these two sessions, we will mostly cover Markov decision process. First, I will start with some of the application areas of Markov decision process. Then we'll discuss some of the precursors of Markov decision process known as Markov process and Markov reward process. Then subsequently we'll discuss some of the concepts in Markov decision process such as value function, action function, and then relation between optimality and value functions. And then finally we'll discuss algorithms for solving Markov decision process. So I'll give presentation on another laptop, touch laptop. Okay. Once again, good morning all the participants.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So, coming to Markov decision process. Can you see my screen?
No, sir.
No. See, this is Bala.Prakash.
Yes.
Can you see that presentation?
Yes. Now it is coming, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So first we'll start with application area of Markov decision process. So Markov decision process.
Sir, please make it full screen.
No. Full screen
Will not work.
Full screen with touch will not work.
Okay. There is a full screen button is there na, in the bottom. Or you press F5 once. Let us check F5 right side.
No, full screen.
It's coming. It's coming now.
With touch will not work.
Oh, okay. Then proceed, sir. Please.
Okay. Otherwise, I will give full screen without touch. Which one is better, sir?
Okay, you proceed as per your convenience, sir. No problem.
Okay, sir. So some of the application area for Markov decision process are probabilistic planning in artificial intelligence, and then sequential decision problems. Modeling the sequential decision problems under uncertainty. This is one of the application and research area of Markov decision process. And then followed by reinforcement learning. Then for reinforcement learning also, Markov decision process is the mathematical framework. So this probabilistic planning and sequential decision problems under uncertainty are related. Okay, next. So coming to planning. So the planning is a task of coming up with some sequence of actions to achieve some goal. This is known as planning. So now coming to probabilistic planning. Planning wherein the outcome of actions are uncertain. So effect of actions are probabilistic, then it is called probabilistic planning. So coming to sequential decision problems. Sequential decision problems are the decision problems where the utility of agent does not depend on a single decision, but it depends on a sequence of actions. These kind of problems are called sequential decision problems. So one may ask, what is the significance of utility? So utility, it captures the preference of agent. So agent preference are generally captured by utility function. So the goal is to design intelligent agent in an environment where the outcome of actions are uncertain. So this is a classic example of sequential decision problem where the agent starts at initial state 1. So agent starts at initial state 1 and the goal states are represented with this +1 and -1. So the possible actions are going up, going left, going right, going down. These are the possible actions. So the 4 possible actions can be done in the center, this particular. So this is some blocked state that was blocked. These are goal states +1 and -1. This is the initial state. The possible actions are moving up, moving right, moving left, and moving down. Suppose in start state, if it moves towards left, then it will end in the same state. So this is a classic example of sequential decision problem where the utility depends on sequence of decision, not a single decision. So if the agent takes a single decision such as moving up or moving left, that is not the utility of agent here. Agent utility depends on sequence of actions. It has to move up, then move left, then move left, and then move left. These are sequence of actions. So the utility of agent depends on sequence of actions rather than single action. These kind of decision problems are called sequential decision problems. So I was talking about actions with uncertain outcomes. Let's say the agent was told to go up, then it will go up with certain probability 0.8. With other probability, it may go left side or right side. With 0.1 probability, it may go left side. With 0.1 probability, it may go right side. So the outcome of actions are uncertain. So these kind of problems can be modeled using Markov decision process. Sequential decision problems with uncertain actions of outcome of actions are uncertain. Then coming to reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning is a kind of machine learning wherein an agent interacts with environment via actions. So agent will be in a state ST, then it takes some action AT, then it may move to some other state ST+1, then the agent will receive some reward RT+1. So the goal of this reinforcement learning is to develop an optimal policy. Policy means sequence of decision rules. So the decision rules must be optimal. Optimal means the decision rules, the agent has to select decision rules in such a way that the reward is maximized. Maximize its long-term reward. So the goal is to come up with the optimal policy. Objective is to maximize long-term reward. So this is a classic example of an AI agent that has learned how to run and overcome obstacles using reinforcement learning. This is one more example of reinforcement learning wherein AI agent has learned how to play this game. Okay, coming to some of the terminologies before dwelling into Markov decision process, let's start with agent. Agent is a software program that makes intelligent decisions. So they are generally the learners in reinforcement learning. Then agent interacts with environment via actions. Then it will get a reward, receives reward based on their actions. This is the concept related to agent. Then coming to environment. Environment is the demonstration of problem to be solved. So the environment can be a real world environment or environment can be simulated environment. So in our previous two examples of reinforcement learning, in this first case, the environment is a real world environment wherein the agent interacts with a 2D space or 3D space, which is a real world environment. Where in the second case, the environment is a simulated environment because the agent is playing a game that is simulated. So environment can be real world environment or simulated environment. Then coming to state. State means the state actually captures the position of agent at any point of time. Suppose let's say the state of the system is represented with ST. That means state of the system at time t. If we write ST equals to S, means the state of the system is S. This is the mathematical notation. To represent the state of the system at time t is small s. Okay, then again, agent performs an action, then it gets a reward. Then what happens? Okay, it will take action, it will get some reward. Then what happens? The agent will move to some other state. So after performing an action, agent moves to some other state. This is called transition. Moving from one state to other state is called transition. And then the probability of moving from one state to other state is called transition probability. So these are some terminology we'll use in the subsequent parts of lecture. Transition probability, state, action, all these things. Then coming to Markov decision process. So far I have discussed the application areas of Markov decision process that are probabilistic planning, sequential decision problems, and then reinforcement learning. So MDP, Markov decision process, can be used to mathematical model behind these reinforcement learning and then probabilistic planning and sequential decision problems. Now we'll see what exactly we mean by Markov decision process. So basically Markov decision process is a discrete time stochastic process with Markov property. It's some special property known as Markov property. Maybe yesterday they have discussed about Yesterday, some of the experts have discussed about this Markov property. Although they have discussed, I will briefly give an overview of this Markov property. Markov decision process can also be known as extension of Markov process. It is also known as an extension of Markov reward process. So these two things, Markov process and Markov reward process, they are the precursors of Markov decision process. They are the precursors of Markov decision process. So first we'll start with Markov process, a brief overview of Markov process and Markov reward process. Then we'll build upon Markov decision process. So coming to Markov process. Markov process is a stochastic process. I said right. Markov process is also a kind of stochastic process. Markov reward process is also kind of stochastic process. Then Markov reward decision process is also kind of stochastic process, which is also known as random process. Random process. So first we'll see what exactly we mean by random process in one slide. So random process mainly depends on the concept of random variables. So first we'll see random variables. Random variable is a variable whose value is defined as the outcome of a random phenomena. So random phenomena can be flipping a coin or rolling a die or price of a stock market option. These all are random phenomena. So from these two examples, we can see that the outcome of a random variable can be discrete or continuous. In this case, the outcome is discrete. In this case, the outcome is continuous. Stock market values are continuous. Whereas flipping a coin, how it is discrete? If you map T to 1 and head to 0, then this is discrete. Now coming to stochastic process, are also widely known as random process. What is random process? Random process is a collection of random variables indexed by something known as time. at different instances of time, right? This is called stochastic process or random process. So if t is discrete, then it is called discrete time random process. If t is continuous, or if t is real, set of real numbers, then it is continuous time random process. So these are some of the well-known families of stochastic process or random process: Gaussian process, Poisson process, autoregressive models, moving average models, and Markov chains or Markov process. Markov chains or Markov process. These are some of the well-known families of stochastic process. So first we'll see Markov process, which is closely related with Markov-Reward process, which is closely related with Markov decision process. So coming to Markov process is a stochastic process with some special property known as Markov property. So basically this Markov process is represented with a tuple S and P. S is state space, set of all states in the system, that is state space. S is set of all states in the system. This is called state space. Then coming to transition function will capture the probability of moving from one state to other state. We saw that we already discussed the definition of transition. Transition means moving from one state to other state. Transition probability means probability of moving from one state to other state. So this transition function will contain all transition probabilities. I mean, every state to every other state, the transition function contains the transition probabilities. So the transition function is basically defined like this: S cross S2, some real value between 0 and 1, including 0 and 1, which means first one is source state. This is the next state. This is current state. This is next state. Then what is the probability? This right hand side will give the probability. It will capture the probability. So it will basically tell if probability of moving from the current state to next state, one state to other state. So coming to Markov property basically goes like this: the next state in the system depends on the current state. It will not depend on past sequence of states. So that's why in mathematical it can be written like this: probability of next state given present state and sequence of past state, which is equals to probability of next state equals to given present state. So next state only depends on the present state. It will not depend on sequence of past states. This is called Markov property. Again, we'll revisit this Markov property in relation with Markov decision process. So St plus 1 is the next state. State at time t plus 1 depends on state at time t. It will not depend on this past sequence of states. State at time 1, state at time 2. These are irrelevant. That's why probability of next state at time t plus 1 only depends on state at time t. So now, as we discussed Markov property, now what is the probability of moving from one state to other state? State S to state S dash. Probability of moving from state S to S dash is, it depends on only the current state S. So the transition probability matrix is like this. It contains a sequence of entries. It is a matrix representation because it is 2D, right? S cross S2, 0, 1 means it is 2D. This is one state, source state. This is destination. From this state to this state. From state, these are from states. These are from states. These are two states. So 1, 3 means probability of moving from state 1 to state 3. Similarly, N3 means probability of moving from state N to state N3. So Pij, entry Pij represents probability of moving from state I to state J. Now coming to Markov-Reward process. Markov-Reward process is actually closely related with Markov decision process. So Markov-Reward process is an extension of Markov process. It contains 3 things. One is state space. State space means set of all states in the system. Then transition function, we have already defined. And then there is something known as reward function. So this reward, what is the significance of this reward? Significance of this reward is some states in the system are more promising than other states in the system. Means if the agent is at a particular state, the probability of reaching the goal or means the chances of winning is high. Then we'll give more high reward to those kind of states. That is the significance of reward with respect to states or transitions. So we'll see there are different kinds of reward functions, not only reward assigned to state. We'll see these things. So reward can be positive or negative. Then we'll discuss this discounted reward concept, which we'll use in our discussion subsequently. Discounted reward. Discounted reward means discounted reward goes like this. So the future payment is not worth as current payment. Suppose if someone says I will give 10,000 next year, so 10,000 rupees next year is equivalent to 9,000 rupees at the current point of time due to inflation or something, right? So this is the idea of discounted reward due to inflation or something. So 10,000 rupees next year may be worth as 9,000 rupees today. So these are called discounted reward. So if the agent receives some reward in the future, it may be equivalent to some discount factor into that reward in the current point of time. This is called discounted reward. So we'll use this discounted reward in our mathematical formulations. Then coming to expected reward and total reward. So coming to expected reward. So reward of a state S is represented with RS. So reward of a state is simply expected reward in the current state. It is mathematically it was represented like this. It is simply RS. We can use RS. We can ignore this term. Now coming to the next term called total reward. This is a reward in a state S. Now this is total reward. So total reward is actually defined with respect to a state. So total reward from that state we'll use. So total reward is accumulated reward across the sequence of our state. Means accumulated reward from state S. Suppose if I say total reward at state S, how we define a total reward at state S? Reward from state S onwards. Means from what is the reward at state S? What is the reward at state S t plus? So suppose the current point of time is t. What is the reward at state t? What is the reward at state t plus 1? What is the reward at state t plus 2? And so on until it reaches goal. So if you accumulate all these rewards, then this is called total reward. So adding up all the rewards from current point of time to all future point of times. This is called total reward. So mathematically it was represented like this. GT, actually GT represents total reward. So what is total reward? RT. RT means current reward. Reward at point at time t is RT. Reward at time t plus 1 is RT plus 1. Reward at time t plus 2 is RT plus 2 and so on, infinite, up to infinitely. Now coming to this one, gamma. This gamma is called discount factor. As we already discussed discounted rewards, reward in the future is equivalent to gamma times that reward in the future. Suppose that's what I said. 10,000, 10K next year is equivalent to 0.9 times 10K at the current point of time. Means 9,000 rupees. This is called 9K, right? This is equal to 9K. Now, so 9K rupees. 10K next year is equivalent to 9K this year. That means the discount factor is 0.9. So here gamma is the discount factor. That's why the current reward plus discounted future reward at time t plus 1, discounted future reward at time t plus 2 and so on. So this gamma increases. As time increases, the discount will be more and more. Right? Initially gamma is 0.9 and then gamma is 0.81 and so on. Means it will decrease. As gamma value decreases, the value at the current point of instance will decrease. Right? If gamma is 0.8, then 10,000 rupees next year is equivalent to only 8K. That is the significance of discount factor. Gamma is the discount factor. So this can be written, this first equation can be written like this, right? Sum over gamma power k RT plus k runs from 0 to infinity. Now we'll discuss this one more concept known as value function, which we use heavily in our subsequent discussions. So value function actually maps states to some real number. This is not reward. Actually, this is real. This is a real number. So for every state, it will assign a real number. So this is called value function. So this is V is value function. V of S is value of state S. So V of S is value of state S. These are notations we'll use in our subsequent discussion.
Sir, please unmute your mic. Hello. Bala sir. Sir, it's, now it is audible, sir.
Okay, so far the audio is less.
So please proceed, sir. Please proceed.
Okay. Okay, sir. I'll continue. So we'll discuss this value of status. Total reward.
Sir, your voice is not audible
No, some resound is coming.
because you have used two computer systems, so echo may be there. Sir, your voice is not audible. Yes, now it is audible, sir.
Okay.
Please proceed.
So value of a state. Yes, sir. So
Yes,
that, so value of a state is defined with respect to the total reward. So value of a state is the total reward from state S onwards. So the accumulated total reward from state S is known as value of status. Value of state. So the value of state is mathematically represented like this. What is value of state? Value of status is the total reward starting from status. So we'll mathematically define what is V of S. So now expand GT. What is GT? GT means the total reward. What is total reward? Reward at time t plus discounted reward at time t plus 1 plus discounted reward at time t plus 2 and so on, right? So expand GT. So GT is this one, right? Given the current state is S. Now, here we can take gamma common, right? So if we take gamma common, this is the remaining thing. So what is this? This is equivalent to reward at time t plus 1 plus discounted reward at time t plus 2 and so on. So which means this is reward, total reward starting from state t plus 1. So this is GT plus 1. If this is GT, then this particular thing is equivalent to GT plus 1. So this can be rewritten like this. So expected reward at time t plus gamma into total reward at time t plus 1. This is the total reward at time t. Total reward at time t. Time t means at time t we are in state S. So this is expected reward at time t plus 1. So expected reward at time t plus 1 is equivalent to the value at time t value of the state at time t plus 1. So this is the state at time t plus 1. This is the value of the state at time t plus 1. Therefore, the value of a state S can be represented like this: expected value of total reward at time t plus discounted value of state t plus 1. This is equal to value of state S. So the value function can be decomposed into two parts. What are the two parts? This is the first part, that is the immediate reward at time t, and this is the value at state at time t plus 1, and it was multiplied by this discount factor. So so value function contains two things. One is immediate reward, and the other one is discounted value of next state. Next state is st plus 1. V of st plus 1 is the value of next state, and gamma times V of st plus 1 is the discounted value of next state. So basically value function is decomposed into two things: immediate reward and discounted value of next state. So basically this decomposed value, this value function can be visualized in a node graph. Why? Because here we have this, still we have this expectation operator, right? So we have to expand this expectation operator. How to expand this expectation operator? To expand this expectation operator, we are visualizing this value function, decomposed value function, in a node graph. So the decomposed value function, suppose the system is in state S, then what is the value obtained at state S? It is V of S. At state S, it will get some reward R, and it may go to some state S dash. Suppose the system is in state S. It may go to state S1 or it may go to state S2 with some probability, right? Probability of moving from state S2 S1 is suppose 0.6, and probability of moving from state S2 S2 is 0.4. Then we have to consider both of these transitions, right? Not just one transition. This is not deterministic. If the transition is deterministic, means the probability of moving from S2 S1 is 1. Then we will only consider state 1, the transition, first transition. But here the transitions are stochastic. So with some probability it will move to state 1, with some other probability it will move to state S2, right? That's why we have to consider these both transitions. Now we have to define this value function considering all possible transitions. In our example here there are two transitions. Suppose when the system is in state S, it will get a value V of S. So from current state, after obtaining some reward, it will move to some other state S dash. S dash means it can be S dash or S double dash, anything. So so there is a probability. Probability is P of S dash. So the current state is S, next stage is S1 or S dash, or next state is S double dash. So here the probability is P S dash. Here the probability is P S double dash. So we have to consider these both transitions. We have two possible next states in our example. In real scenario, the number of transitions may be multiple. One transition with probability 0.1, one other transition with probability 0.3, and so on. There may be multiple transitions. We have to consider all possible transitions while expanding this mathematical equation for value function. This is the value function, decomposed value function. Now we have to expand the expectation operator. So how to expand this expectation operator? So now we have to introduce the probabilities. So how to introduce probability? This is the actually. So suppose S dash is the next state, and P of S dash is the probability of moving from current state S to next state S dash. Then what we have to do? State S to S dash or S double dash. Suppose it is 0.6, it is 0.4. Now what is value function? Value is value at current state, that is immediate reward, RS. RS is the immediate reward. Now at S dash, we'll get some value V of S dash. Similarly at S double dash, we'll get some value V S double dash. So what is the total value at state S? Total value at state S is this 0.6 is the probability of moving from state S to S dash. That's why it is 0.6 into what is reward at state S? RS plus what is the value at state S dash? Value of state S dash times gamma plus then other transition with probability 0.4. This is 0.4 into RS plus gamma into V S double dash. So this is the value function. Value function can be written like this with the help of probabilities. That's why mathematically it can be written like this. How? S dash is the next state. So sum over all possible next states, probability of transition to that state. This is the probability of transition to next state, that state, and this is the current reward plus value of next state. So this equation can be further expanded. How to expand this equation? You multiply PSS dash with current reward and you multiply PSS dash with value of next state. So here in the first term, this reward is independent of this probability, right? So this can be written as gamma S, RS means current reward. Why it can be written like this? Suppose RS is like this, 0.6 into RS plus 0.4 into RS. So that's what, right? This is sigma for all possible next states, PSS dash into RS. So here, if you take RS common, which is 0.6 plus 0.4, which is equal to 1. So this is equal to RS. That's why this entire term can be written as RS. This is the immediate reward plus discount factor times sum of probability of transition to next state into value of next state. So this sum is for all possible next states. So this is called Bellman equation. After execution of expectation operator, this value function is known as Bellman equation because it was proposed by Bellman. That's why it is known as Bellman equation. So what is the value function? From our discussion, value function contains how to obtain value function. So first of all, value function using Bellman equation, value function can be obtained like this. First, you come up with the immediate reward in state S. Then you find out what are the possible next states. You find their values. You multiply the probabilities with their values. Then you take sum over all these things. Then you multiply with the gamma. This is the value at state S. So how to obtain value of state S? Sum of values of next states, possible next states. That's what VS dash means, for value of next state S dash. So you have to take sum over values of next states. And then you have to multiply it with the probability, PSS dash. And then immediate reward in state S, which is RS. So this is RS. This is sigma PSS dash multiplied by V of S dash. This is the sum of values of possible next states multiplied by their probabilities. Now this term we have to multiply with discount. Actually this is discounted sum. This is discounted value, not just sum. Discounted value of sum of values of possible next states weighted by probabilities. And then immediate reward. You have to add immediate reward. So far we have discussed this Markov reward process. So enough for Markov reward process. Now we'll explain all these mathematical things with a toy example. Let's say an assistant professor gets $20,000 per year. Then what is the total cash he will get throughout his lifetime? Can someone tell? It is simply 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 up to so on. This is without any discount factors. Assuming that 20,000 next year is equivalent to 20,000 this year. So this is the total cash without any discount factors. That's what we saw, right? Total reward. Total reward is reward at time t, reward at next year, reward at next to next year, reward at next to next to next year, and so on. So 20 plus 20 plus 20 and so on. Then we'll introduce this discounted rewards. The idea of discounted rewards we have already discussed. The future payment is not same as the current payment. Value of future payment is not same as value of current payment. Means payment at current point of time, right? So we'll see the total reward assuming a discount factor of 0.9. If discount factor is 0.9 means gamma is 0.9. Now what is the total reward? Can someone tell what is the total reward? Can someone calculate? How much does the assistant professor get in total? Starting from now. So it is according to total reward formula, which is RT plus gamma into RT plus 1 plus gamma square into RT plus 1 and so on, right? So what is RT? RT is current reward. What is current reward? Every year you will get 20K or 20, okay. We'll say $20K per year. So this is 20. RT plus 1 is also 20. RT plus 2 is also 20. As long as he is in assistant professor position. Assuming that he will be in assistant professor and so on. So this is the total value, total amount he will get using the total reward formula. 20 is the current reward. This is discount factor into 20, discount factor square into 20 and so on. Suppose, let's say this entire sum is X. This is an infinite sum, right? Now, from these things, we will take 0.9 common. If we take 0.9 common, what you will get? 0.9 into 20 plus 0.9 into 20 plus 0.9 square into 20 plus and so on. So again, this is an infinite series, which is same as X, right? So this can be written like this. Now this particular sum is again same as X, right? Don't you think? This is an infinite series. So this can be written as X equals to 20 plus 0.9 into X. So if you take X comma out of these two things, this can be written like X equals to 20 by 0.1, which is equal to 200. So this is the total reward we have calculated, assuming that the current reward is 20 and discount factor is 0.9. Similarly, you can calculate total reward with different discount factors, 0.8 or 0.7, it can be anything. So this is the general formula of total reward. Using this total reward, we can calculate value also. So before calculating value, let's expand this same example. Let's say there are 5 states in the system. State A means you are in assistant professor position and you will get 20K reward, $20K per year, $20,000 per year. And state B is associate professor, and in associate professor, assume that you will get $60K per year. Suppose you are professor, tenured professor, then you will get $100K per year. If you are on street, then you will get only $10K per year. If you are dead, then value is 0, as you all know. And one more thing, you can observe that the transition probabilities. From state A, the probability of moving to state A is again 0.6. Probability of moving to state B is 0.2. Probability of moving to state S is 0.2, and so on. Similarly, you can see the transition probability. From B also there are transition probabilities. B can move to B, or B can move to T, or B can move to S. These are the states: S, A, B, T, S, D. These are the 5 states in the system. And these are the rewards, 20 immediate reward. If the system is in state A, then it will get reward 20K. If the system is in states B, it will get 60K. These are rewards. These are states. And these are transition probabilities. So this is our Markov reward process. State space, there are 5 states: A, B, T, S, D. And then transition probabilities or transition matrix, probability of moving from one state to other state. And then the third one is rewards. What are the rewards? These are rewards with respect to state. There are other kind of rewards which we will discuss subsequently. These are rewards with respect to state. If the system is in state A, it will get reward 20 and so on. Now, let's say V of A is the value of state A. How to define value of state A? What is value of state A? Value of state A is the total reward starting from state A. Now, can someone tell what is total reward or value of state A using the Bellman equation? What is Bellman equation? Bellman equation says two things. What is the immediate reward? Plus gamma, means discount factor, times sum over all possible next states. So here, what are the possible next states? From A, the possible next states are again A, because with 0.6 it can again go to A, or with 0.2 it can go to B, or with 0.2 it can go to S. So when calculating value of A, there are 3 possible next states. It can again go to A, it can go to B, or it can go to S. These are the next states. Now what is the immediate reward? Reward Rx is 20. Gamma we are assuming that 0.9. Now using Bellman equation, can someone write what is V of A? Value of A? Value of A is gamma S means 20 plus, so it is value of A is 20 plus gamma means 0.9 times probability. What is probability of moving from state A to state A? 0.6. 0.6 into V of A plus 0.2 into V of B plus 0.2 into V of S. So the same thing we are writing. We are assuming discount factor 0.9. So what is value of A? Value of A can be written like this, using the same Bellman equation only. This is the idea behind this Bellman equation. This is immediate reward. This is discount factor. These are transition probabilities. These are values of next states. These are the next states. A, B, S are next states. This is immediate reward 20, because if you are in assistant professor position, you will get only 20k per year. This is reward. So using same Bellman equation, we have written value of state A. Similarly, you can write value of state B, value of state C, S, value of state D, value of state D, and so on, right? Let's consider V of D. It is very simple. What is V of D? For this example, what is V of D? V of D is, what is the immediate reward? 0 plus what is discount factor? 0.9. What is the next state? The possible next state is again D itself. That's why V of D can be written like this: 0 plus 0.9 into V of D. So for all other states, you can go through it: V of B, V of S, V of T, and so on. Now, for this example, we can write transition matrix. So the transition matrix can be written like this. This is the transition matrix for the above example. These are from states. These are two states. So from state A to state A, what is the probability? 0.6. From state A to from state S, what is the probability? 0.2. If the cell is empty, means the probability is 0. That's why it is empty. So this is the transition probability matrix. So Pij represents probability of moving from state I to state J. So using this transition matrix, now we'll transform this set of equations. These are system of equations. You can see V of A equals to something, V of B equals to something, and so on. These are sequence of equations. These are linear equations, as you can see, because here only V of A is not known, V of B is not known, V of S is not known, multiplied by some constant. So these are linear equations, because this is the only unknown. This is the only unknown. This is the only unknown. Only unknown. There is no quadratic terms. So these are linear equations. So the same thing, these set of linear equations can be written in matrix form. How we can write matrix form? This is rewards. These are discounts. These are transition probabilities multiplied by this one. So these transition probabilities can be written using transition matrix, transition probability matrix. So the same set of system of equations can be written like this. Now you see, these are values. So this is a V matrix, value matrix. This is reward matrix, this is value column, value vector. This is reward vector. This is discount factor vector, which is equal to 0.9. This is a matrix, P is a matrix, which is transition probability matrix. Again, this is a V. V means this is again value. This is a vector. So this set of system of equations can be written in matrix form. V equals to R plus gamma into P times V, and so on. So if you want, what is V? V minus gamma P V is equivalent to what? R, right? Don't you think? Now if you take V common, V times 1 minus gamma P is equivalent to V common, it is gamma. So that means you can solve V using this system of linear equations. So V is equivalent to R plus gamma PV. If you take this gamma PV left hand side, which is equivalent to V minus gamma PV, is equivalent to the reward vector R. Now if you take V common, this is 1 minus gamma P into V is equivalent to R. Both sides, if you multiply it by inverse matrix, 1 minus gamma P inverse, 1 minus gamma P inverse on the right hand side, What is values? V is equivalent to 1 minus gamma P inverse into R. So you can simply calculate the values using this system of linear equations, right? So this is all about Markov-Reward process. So these are the values obtained after solving the system of linear equations. Value at state A is 147, value of state B is 247, value of state P is 270. However, you see value of state D remains 0 because the initial reward is 0 and the transition to other states is also 0. It is not going to any other state. It is simply remaining on the same state. So what is the reward it will get? And as you can see, this is obvious, right? Value of state D is 0. Because its immediate reward is 0, it is not going to any other state. So its value is 0. Similarly, you can see value of state S is 27 and so on. 27. So far we have discussed about this Markov-Reward process. Why we have discussed about Markov-Reward process? Because Markov-Reward process is more closely related to Markov decision process. Now we will start our discussion on Markov decision process. So Markov decision process is a discrete time stochastic process with some special property known as Markov property. It is an extension of Markov process. We'll see what is that extension. We'll see, and it is also an extension of Markov-Reward process. So basically, Markov decision process can be used to model environment of any agent, or it can be used to model mathematical model behind sequential decision problems, or it is also mathematical model behind probabilistic planning. So we'll see now the definitions of Markov decision process, and we'll simply extend Markov-Reward process. If you understand Markov-Reward process clearly, then we can simply extend the same concept to Markov-Reward process. Same value functions can be extended to Markov decision process. Same Bellman equations can be extended to Markov decision process. That's why I took some time on this Markov-Reward process. The value function will assign some value to each state. It will map state to a real value, right? The same value function will extend. Then we have discussed this Bellman equation for value function, decomposing of immediate reward plus value of next states, right? The same thing will extend. Okay, so what is basically a Markov decision process? Markov decision process is a Markov-Reward process plus actions or decisions. So what is Markov-Reward process? Markov-Reward process contains three things: state space, probabilities, translation functions, and then rewards, right? Now, what is Markov decision process? Markov decision process is an extension. Extension means it also contains these three things: state space, it contains transition probabilities, it will have reward functions, it will have. Then what is the additional thing? With actions. So it contains something known as actions. That is called A. So therefore, it is represented with this tuple SAPR. S is state space, possible states of the system. A means possible actions that can be taken by the agent. So A means actions, whereas A of S means the possible actions within state S, whereas A means the possible actions in the entire system. Similarly, this P means transition probabilities, R means reward function, state space, action space, transition function, reward function. And now we see what is the difference in transition function and reward function. So earlier, what is transition function? Transition function is simply S cross S to some real number between 0 and 1. Now what is transition function? Transition function is slightly modified. It is S cross A cross S to 0, 1, which means the transition function also contains these actions. Similarly,
Sir, not audible.
Bala sir, your voice is not audible.
yes sir, this power gun, I am connecting.
So I request participant not to mute Bala sir. I think somebody click the mute button of your profile. That's why it is muted.
Now can you hear, sir?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Because power gun, I was connecting with mobile.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so the transition function now it was slightly modified. It contains these actions, set of actions also. Similarly, the reward function also contains these actions. There are different kind of reward functions. We'll see this. So, but the Markov decision process uses this kind of reward function: S cross A cross S2R. We'll shortly see what this reward function means. Again, we'll see what exactly this transition function means. Earlier transition function means moving from one state to other state simply, but it contains actions also in the right and left hand side. So actions are the one using which the agent interacts with environment, and it gets rewards after performing some actions. Earlier there were no actions, that's why the reward is with respect to state. That's why I said for each state it will assign some reward, real number R. This is real number, not reward. That is what reward function will assign a real number to a state earlier in Markov reward process. But now we have these actions also. That's why we will slightly modify this reward function. So that's what the actions are the way by which agent interacts with environment. After performing action, it will get some reward, receive reward based on their actions. So now we'll again revisit the Markov property which was discussed earlier with respect to this Markov decision process. Now earlier there was only states. In Markov process there were only states and transition probabilities P, but now we have states and actions, right? So that's why the Markov property was slightly modified in this Markov decision property. So earlier the next state depends on only current state. Now as we have actions, the next state not only depends on state, it depends on current action also. So the probability of next state given current state and current action and past sequence of states and past sequence of actions is effectively equivalent to probability of next state given current state and current action. That's what the probability of next state depends on current state and current action. That is the takeaway point. Probability of next state depends on current state, current action. So this is the notation T of ST, AT, ST plus 1. This is means transition probability of moving from state T to state T plus 1 upon performing an action AT at state T. This is the transition probability. So the system is in state ST and it has performed an action AT, then what is the probability of moving to ST plus 1? This effectively says this one, right? You can see these are 3 times. So now, okay, we'll see transition function again. Now, initially we have already discussed this probabilistic planning and sequential decision problems with wherein actions have uncertain outcomes. That's what with an example we saw. If the agent was told to go up, it will go up with a probability 0.8. With other probability, with 0.1 probability, it may go to right or it may go to left. That's what. So an agent that is told to perform certain action will perform that action with certain probability only. It is not deterministic. That's why it is called uncertain action. Uncertain actions of outcome of actions are uncertain. Those kind of problems MDP will model. Either sequential decision problems with uncertain actions with uncertain outcomes, or probabilistic planning, or reinforcement learning, any kind of these things. This MDP is the mathematical framework. And with some probability it will do that action, and with other probability it is up to environment where it will decide. That means with 0.8 it will go to up, with 0.1 it will go to left, with 0.1 it will go to right. Now we'll again revisit the transition function with respect to Markov decision process. So now we have actions. Suppose if the system is in state T, state S, and an action A was performed, action was applied. Apply an action A in state S. Then what happens after applying an action? System will move to some new state S dash. How it will move? It is based on again probabilities, transition probabilities. But the transition probability was defined differently here. How it was defined? It was 3D. Earlier the transition probability was for 2D. S cross S2, 0, 1. means probability of moving from, this is current state, this is next state. What is the probability of moving from S to S dash? We'll have some probability which ranging from 0 to 1. But now we have a 3D matrix. Here it is 3D. So the probability transition matrix we have seen, it is a 2D matrix. From to Pij, entry Pij denotes probability of moving from state I to state J. Here, whereas here the transition probability matrix is 3D. S cross A cross S, right? So this is current state. The system is in state, some current state. Then it has performed some action A. Then what is the next state? So it is 3D. This is current state. What is the action in the current state? Then what is the next action? So this is a 3D matrix. Transition matrix is a 3D. Current state, current action, next state. So for this we will assign some probability. That's why it is transition probability. Transition function was extended transition function. While discussing in MRP, Markov reward process, it was 2D, now it is 3D with respect to actions. Current state, current action, and what is the next state. Probability of, if the system is in state S and perform state action A, then what is the probability of moving to state S dash. So this is the notation we will use. T of S comma A comma S dash means the current state is S and current action is A, then what is the probability of moving to next state S dash. It is 3D, remember. We will use this notation only in subsequent discussions. T of S comma A comma S dash. That's why rather than using P, since it was different, we use the transition function T rather than using P because it is 3D. Different, right? It is different from previous one. That's why we are using a different notation T. Now, there is these goal states are transition probabilities. So initially, our example in first slide, let's say third or fourth slide, with respect to sequential decision problems, we have seen this example of this 4x3 maze, right? Wherein there are two states represented with +1 and -1. They are known as goal states. Because goal states are state from which every action will lead. So after performing some action, the system has to move to some other state, right? But in goal state, after performing any action, the system remains in the same state. Those kind of states are called goal states. So the transition probability to other states. So transition probability to same state is 1. What exactly that means? Transition probability to other states is how much? It is 0 because the sum of probabilities must be 1. That's why every action results in a transition to the same state with probability 1. For the same state, the probability is 1, means for the other states, the probability is 0. Those kind of states are called goal states. And in goal state, the reward is 0. So mathematically, it can be represented like this. Transition from same state to same state, and any action, it can be any action, is 1, means transition probability other states is 0, and reward is 0 for all states. Now we'll see the reward function again. And what is the reward function used by Markov decision process? Reward function. Coming to reward function, there are 3 kinds of reward functions. First one is reward function with respect to state, without any actions, anything, without any transitions. It is called reward function for states. So it can be reversed to, this is called state reward function. For each state, it will assign a real value. This is R. This R is different from this R. Sorry, this is R. Real R, real domain. So for each state, it will assign a real value. This is called state reward function. For each state, it will assign a value. Reward. That value is called reward. Then this is the second type of reward function. What is that reward function? This is the reward for performing some action in a state. So this is 2D. So this is reward for performing some action in a state. It was in state S, and it has performed, the system has performed some action. Then what is the reward it will get? So this is called second type of reward function, reward for action. First one is reward for state. This is reward for action in a state. The system is in a state and it has performed an action, then it will get this reward. So this reward depends on action within a state. The first one is state. If the system is in state S, it will directly get that reward. But here, if the system is in some state, then depending upon action, it will get some reward. Suppose there are three. Suppose the system is in state S, and if three possible actions are possible, A1, A2, A3. Depending upon this action, it will get reward. Suppose for A1, it will get some reward 10, A2, it will get reward 20, A3, it will get some reward 30, and so on. Means the reward depends on action. That's why it is called reward for action in a state. And then this third kind of reward is called reward for transition. So reward for state, reward for action, action in a state, and reward for transition between states. So as we already discussed, the transition now depends on action. Depending upon action, it may move to this state, or depending upon action, it may move to other state. Suppose that means if the system is in state S based on A1 or A2. If it performs action A1, then with 0.7 it may go to S2, and with 0.3 it may go to S3. But if it performs action A2, then with 0.2 it may go to S1, or with 0.8 it may go to S3. This is S2. Okay, let's see. So the transition depends on action. That's what we saw. Current state, action, then the next state. Depending upon current state and action, the next state. So these are the reward for transitions. It was defined with respect to 3D. This is the current state, current action. The action was performed, that was performed. Then this is the next state. This is called reward for transition between states. The first two are reward for action in a state, then reward for state. So these are the three kind of rewards. Then MDP uses this third kind of reward because it considers actions also into account. Reward for transition. This is the current state, action, then what is the next state. So while transition from one state to other state upon performing an action, it will get this kind of reward. Okay, not just performing an action, it will get reward. The second one is after performing an action, it will get some reward. The third one is based on action, it has to move to some other state, next state, transition. So this transition, after transition, it will get this reward. Reward for transition. Second one is after performing an action, it will get reward. Third one is after performing transition. Remember the difference between transition and performing action. Okay, that's right. Now, so that's what we have discussed. So now the immediate reward. So the reward was defined like this, right? S cross A cross S2 R. So that's why the immediate reward not only depends on state S, but it depends on action also. Action was action taken by the agent in state S. Therefore, we can again revisit the reward functions. Reward functions were already discussed with respect to Markov reward process. Now again we'll revisit the reward functions. So now the reward function can be rewritten like this. Now the reward depends not only on action, not only on state, but depends on action also. Depending upon action, the transition is defined, right? That's what in previous example, that's what I said. It was in state S. Depending upon action, the probabilities are different. The transitions are different, right? That's why the reward not only depends on state, it depends on action also. That's why now we are rewriting the reward within a state after performing action A. So this was written like this. This is the expected reward given the current state is S and current action is A. Now what is expected reward? Expected reward is expected reward depending upon action. That's what. This is the expected reward depends on action in a state S. Now, in a current state, there may be multiple actions. That's what. As in a state S, the possible actions can be A1, A2, A3. Now, which action the agent has to take? How the agent decides which action to be taken in a particular state? Who will decide that one? That is decided by something known as policy. So this policy is the main concept behind this MDP. So initially I discussed what is the goal of reinforcement learning. Goal of reinforcement learning is to come up with an optimal policy. Policy means what? Sequence of decisions or sequence of actions are known as policy. Similarly, in sequential decision problems also, the utility depends on sequence of decisions or sequence of action. The utility does not depend on a single action, but it depends on sequence of actions. So the sequence of actions is known as policy. So the main idea of this reinforcement learning or sequential decision problems or probabilistic planning is to come up with an optimal policy, right? So now we'll see what exactly what exactly the meaning of policy, and we'll see an optimal policy and so on, and algorithms for computing optimal policy and so on. So the policy is represented with the notation pi. So what is a policy? The policy is a function. Basically, policy is a function that outputs for each state in action. So actually, basically, there are two kinds of policies. Policy can be deterministic or policy can be stochastic. So what I said here is the deterministic policy. Deterministic policy maps states to actions. Means if the system is in state S, then the policy will tell what is the action to be performed in state S. So if there are 3 actions at state S, then policy will tell you take this action. Suppose this is policy 1, pi 1. And some other policy may say you take policy action 2. And some other policy may say you take action 3. So basically policy maps state to action. So if policy is telling that if you are in state S, you take action A, then it is called deterministic policy. Means there are no probabilities. If you are in state S, then policy is telling you take action A1 with probability 1. Then these are called deterministic probability. That's what pi 1 will tell you take action A1. Pi 2 will tell you take action A2. Pi 3 will tell you take action A3. These are called deterministic policies. Then there is this other type of policy which are actually the real world policies, stochastic policies, which will tell it is not deterministic. This is stochastic or probabilistic. Means if you are in state S and if there are 3 actions A1, A2, A3, then the policy may tell with 0.6 you take probability action A1 and with 0.2 you take action A2, with 0.2 you take action A3. These are called stochastic policies. So it is not telling that if you are in state S, you take action A directly. It was telling with some probability you can take action A1. With probability 0.2 you can take action A2. With probability 0.2 you can take action A3 and so on. That's why it is 2D. You can see it maps not only S to a action. It is not mapping state to action. It is S cross A to probability 0 to 1, 0, 1, between 0 and 1, right? Including 0 and 1. So if you are in current state, then the stochastic policy will tell you with 0.6 probability you can take action 1, with 0.2 probability you can take action 2, with 0.2 probability you can take action 3 and so on. These are called stochastic policies. Whereas if the policy directly tell you if you are in state S, you directly take action A1, then those kind of policies are known as deterministic policy. So for stochastic policies, this rule will hold. The rule is that the probabilities must be equal to 1 and probabilities must be non-negative. This is the idea of any probability, right? Probabilities must be non-negative and sum of probabilities must be equal to 1. That's what. If we are in state S, action A1, action A2, action A3, some probabilities 0.7, 0.1, 0.2. The sum of these probabilities must be, these are probabilities, these must be equivalent to 1 and they must be non-negative. So with respect to deterministic policy, we use the notation pi of S. Pi of S represents the action performed, action to be taken in state S, because the action is deterministic. We know for certain that you take, so the policy is telling that if you are in state S, you take the action A with probability 1. That's why pi of S represents action in state S. Whereas in stochastic, the representation is pi of SA. Pi of SA is between 0 and 1. Pi of SA means if you are in state S, what is the probability of taking action A? So the pi of SA represents probability of taking action A in state S. That's why it is pi of SA. So these are probabilities basically. So the sum of probabilities must be 1. Whereas this one, pi of S means probability of, there is no probability. If you are in state S, what is the action to be taken in state S? So pi of S is actually in action. So that's why it maps state to action. So pi is a function. Input is S, then what is the output? It is action. So pi of S is a action. Now, how to apply the policy to an MDP? Initially I said, few minutes back also I said, the goal is to come up with an optimal policy in a reinforcement learning, subject to maximizing the reward, right? Maximizing long-term reward. Similarly, in sequential decision problems also, you have to come up with this sequence of actions or sequence of decisions. Those kind of problems only known as sequential decision problems. So now, how to apply policy to an MDP generally? So policy means, policy will tell you what is the action to be performed in a state S. So how to apply policy to an MDP? Suppose if the system is in a start state S0. Suppose the initial state was somehow generated from the set of states S is set of states. From these set of states, an initial state was generated, or initial state was given to you. It can be anything. Suppose initial state is known, then how to apply policy to an MDP, policy to an Markov decision process. So policy, suppose let's say we'll discuss with respect to deterministic policy. The same thing can be extended to stochastic policies also. Only thing that is different is stochastic policy contains probabilities. So for simplicity of discussion, I'm assuming deterministic policy. Okay. So the policy will tell what? Policy will tell if you are in state S0, then you take some action. Since it is deterministic probability, it will tell you with probability 1 that you take action A0. Suppose pi S0 is A0. That means what? The policy is telling the agent that you take the action A0. So since the policy has suggested action A0, what the agent will do? Agent will perform action A0. So after performing action, what will happen? It was in state S0 and it has performed action A0. Then it has to move to some other state and it has to get some reward. So the transition function, that's how we define transition function. Transition function is moving from, if the system is in state S and it has performed action A, what is the next state? So based on transition probabilities, it will move to some other state, and based on reward function, it will get some reward. So reward function was defined. How is the reward function was defined? Reward function was defined like this. System is in state S and it has so the reward function is with respect to transitions. So system is in state S and it has taken action A, then it has to transition to some other state. So based on the transition, it will get some reward. So based on transition function and reward function, it will move to some other new state, S dash, with some probability, and it will get some reward. This one, reward for transition. So therefore, this process will continue. We are starting at initial state A0, and the policy suggested an action A0. Then the system gets a reward R0, and it will transition to some new state S1. Then again the same thing. Again the policy will suggest an action A1. It will get reward R1. It may go to a new state S2 and so on. So this is how policy will be applied to a Markov decision process. So how long this process will continue? If the process will continue until the system or agent reaches a goal state, because goal state is the state from where the probability of moving to other states is 0, and probability of lying in the same state is 1. That's what we discussed, goal state and its transition probabilities and its reward, right? So if it reaches goal state, then we'll stop the process. If the task is continuing, this process will be continued. S0, A0, R0, S1, A1, R1, and so on. This can be extended indefinitely. So far, any doubts on these value functions? Extended value functions. So first we started with value functions. Then, so we have discussed value functions in Markov reward process. Then we have extended the same concept to Markov decision process. Right? The value function we have not extended. Value function we'll discuss shortly. Okay. So, but we have extended the concept of Markov reward process into Markov decision process. Markov reward process contains 3 things: state, transition probabilities, and actions. Right? No, not actions. States, transition probabilities, and rewards. So the rewards are with respect to states in Markov reward process, and the transition probabilities are 2-dimensional. What is the probability of moving from state I to state J? Whereas in Markov decision process, these actions are the additional thing. So we have state space, we have action space, we have transition function, and we have reward function. Now the transition function is 3D because the transition is between, not just between states, the transition depends on action. If the system is in state S, depending upon action, it will move to some other new state S dash. So the transition function is 3D, S cross, A cross, S2, 0, 1, means between 0 and 1. Similarly, reward function, there are 3 kinds of reward functions: reward for state, reward for action, reward for transition. So MDP will use reward for transition. So after moving to a new state, it will get the reward, some reward. That's why the reward was represented with R, S, A, S dash. Similarly, transitions are represented with T, A, S dash. Means the probability of moving from S to S dash upon performing action A in state S. Whereas in MRP, Markov reward process, it was simply probability of moving from state S to state S dash. So this is how we will apply policy to an MDP. So in next session, we will cover how to come up with an optimal policy for MDP. We will see 2 algorithms for coming up with optimal policy. Those are known as value iteration and policy iteration. These 2 algorithms generally depends on some general framework known as generalized policy iteration. Both of them depends on this GPA, generalized policy iteration, but they are 2 extreme algorithms. We will see those things. And similarly, we discussed policy. So in next session, we will cover the relation between value function and policy. Policy means we have to come up with sequence of actions. Value means what? Value means the reward from state S. Reward, total reward starting from state S. So I have discussed this example for Markov reward and Markov reward process for understanding. Right? This example. Mathematically, we have defined the Bellman equation, and how to write the Bellman equation for this example we have seen. Right? Values we have written using the Bellman equations we have written, and then we have converted this into a probability matrix representation, system of linear equations, and the system of linear equations are written as this matrix, and this matrix can be solved. Like V equals to 1 minus gamma P inverse into V. Any questions?
Sir, a few questions are there in chat window.
Okay.
We first answer this question, then after we will go for break for another 10 or to 15 minutes.
Yes, sir. Can you respond? What is that? Okay. So some question is, value, is it calculated from starting state or for each individual state? So the value is calculated for each individual state. So value of state is total reward starting from that state. So the total reward will be depends on the transition probabilities. That's what with an example we have discussed that one, right? The transition, what is the value of state A? In our example, there are 5 states: A, B, T, S, and D. And value of A is the current reward plus the discount factor into the probability of moving to state B into value of B plus probability of moving into state S into value of S plus probability of moving into state A into value of A. So for each individual state, similarly, value was calculated for state B, state S, state D, and state D, right? So value was calculated for each individual state from starting state. It was calculated for individual state, and for starting state also we will calculate. So someone was asking this, how to calculate reward function. So reward function was discussed. So reward function, how to calculate reward function. So the reward function was with respect to an action in a state S, and after performing transition, the reward will be given. So based on the application, the reward can be decided. So in our example, you see, it is an assistant professor who gets 20K reward. It was based on his salary. So the reward can be monetary, or the reward can be some value based on. So that's what the significance of reward is to. Some states are more promising than some other states. So if the probability of winning the game, if the system is in a particular state is high, then we'll give a high reward to those kind of state. Suppose if the system is in some other state, then the probability there is means we are for sure that the system will lose. Then for those kind of states, the reward will be negative. And for some intermediate states, the probability is some positive. Means if it is in that state, from that state onwards, if the actions are good, then the probability of moving towards goal state is high. Then for those kind of states, we'll give some positive reward. Decision depends on reward function. Yeah. Decision depends on reward function. No, actually, decision does not depend on reward function. These are 3 kind of reward functions: reward for state, and reward for action, and reward for transition function. Right? So reward for action means after taking action, it will get some reward. Whereas reward for transition means after transition, it will get some reward. Based on transition, it will suppose in state S, and after performing an action A, it may move to some new state S dash or new state S double dash. Depending upon this transition, it will get this reward. What is the interpretation of reward while relating Markov reward process with a research problem such as financial forecasting? The reward is that what monetary reward in your case. So someone asked Mahapatra, interpretation of reward while relating Markov process with a research problem such as financial forecasting. So in case of financial forecasting, the reward is monetary, right? Okay, these are the related